Hello students, today in class we talked about some sample data about discovering density, and that's what you have there on your screen. This is data that was collected by an actual student in an actual class for some actual pieces of metal. They took 4 samples of the same type of metal, and as you can see they got 4 different masses, and they found the volume for each of those samples of metal. After gathering this data, they then went ahead and made a graph, which you also need to do as well. If you need to pause this video at any time so that you can use this data, please do so. The graph that they made looks something like this. It's important to note that on this graph, volume is running along the x-axis and mass is running along the y-axis. The 4 pink dots are the spots where they've plotted their 4 points from the graph, or from the data table that you just saw, and the pink line is the line of best fit. The reason why this line doesn't go perfectly through each of the dots is because of the testing equipment that we use in the lab is not quite perfect, not quite perfectly accurate, and so they're not going to fall right on top of the line. The questions that you need to answer that go along with this data and this graph are as follows, and these can be answered on the back of your lab sheet, which is also going to be posted on my website. The first is this: do you think that the point 0, 0, meaning volume of 0, mass of 0, should be included in your data? And please provide a reasoning. Question number 2, is there a trend that you could say is obvious on your graph? And I'd like you to please describe that trend. Question number 3 is a little bit detailed. What you need to do is you need to first of all calculate the slope for that pink line of best fit. The way that you do it is by picking 2 points on that line. You can pick any 2 points along the line that you would like, and you need to take the vertical change, that's the rise, divided by the horizontal change, that's the run. Once you figure that out, the rise over the run, you're going to have something with mass and velocity. You need to say, what is the unit for that slope? Second one is, what's the unit for density? That's just from class and what you've done in the past. For the next one, number 5, what would the mass be? And you're just making an estimate using your line of best fit. What would it be the mass if you had some volume of that same material at 10 cubic centimeters? How about 20? And then what does that tell you about the density of these different amounts? Or another way to ask this question would be, does the amount of material that you have change the density? And then the very last question, what is the big idea of this lab? Or what could you say as a summary from what you've learned from this graph about different amounts of metal shot? Because that was the material that was being measured in this lab, was called metal shot.